Tentacle Nation, we're not done yet. We're still breaking down the first day interviews, and the deeper we go, the more the cracks start to show. Key witnesses weren't pressed on the right questions. Some names were mentioned, but never followed up on. And investigators, they seem more interested in pushing a narrative than getting real answers. This isn't just sloppy work. It's a pattern. So today, we're taking you through almost the rest of the first statements, analyzing a lot of the inconsistencies, misleads, and every red flag that should have been investigated but wasn't. Because the truth is hidden in the details they ignored. Let's get into it. All right, Tentacle Nation, we've got some big updates. The infamous ex-chief is leveling up, and now's your chance to get involved. First up, we've launched our official anonymous tips submission form. And here's the deal. We've got multiple options for you on how you submit. Whether you want to stay completely anonymous, allow me to follow up privately but never be publicly mentioned, or you're at the point, hey, put me on the record and interview me on the show level, we've got you covered. And it's not just text. You can submit pictures, video, or audio right along with your tip. If you've got proof, evidence, or anything that helps tell the story, send it through. Everything is secure, and you control how involved you want to be. I'm just going to quickly bring this up. If I can get my screen to cooperate. All right. So again, I guess I didn't quite explain. So that my one shop stop link here with all of my contact information now has at the top the tip submission sheet. All right. You can fill out as much information as you want. First name, last name if you want. Phone number if you want. Email if you want. How you prefer to be contacted. What case it's involving. Describe the information you're providing. How did you come across the information? Would you be willing to discuss it further? And have you shared the information with law enforcement, media, or anybody else? And right here is where you can select and bam, you can attach files if you want right there. Confidentiality, select one of those options here. I wish to remain completely anonymous. I'm okay with being contacted privately, but do not want my name used publicly. I'm okay with my name being associated with this tip. Whatever you want, it's right there. So let's back out to our page here. So next up, the Tentacle Nation Discord is officially live. Now, I'll be real with you. Please be patient with Discord. I'm still learning how to set the server up and get everything running the right way. But if anyone out there is experienced and wants to help build it out, definitely reach out. Otherwise, hop in, say hello, and be part of the early crew as we get this thing rolling. And again, I'm going to show you, and apparently it's a big thing among gamers, but apparently it's branching out to a lot of YouTube platforms. So I've had a couple of requests. So if you go up here, to the screen, where's my screen? All right, and you hit the Discord symbol right here. It's going to launch you into the Discord platform. All right. And again, I'm doing my best to get everything set up. But as we have it currently, I have general discussion for Bryon Macron, Christian Olsen, Dawn Pasella, and then there are options where you could actually upload documents, and I believe that they are a maximum of 25 meg, so they're pretty small, but you can go into the case folders of each of the cases and upload anything that you might have. All right? So we'll go back now to what we got here. All right? And so finally, if you know of a case that deserves a spotlight, wrongful convictions, corrupt prosecutions, law enforcement overreach, you can now officially submit it for review. If it fits what we do here, we just might dig in. All right, so quickly showing you that. That's the currently the second option here is submit a case to be considered. You hit that. All right. Brings you up a similar form. All right. First, last name, email. What case would you like me to look at? What kind of case is it? Missing person, murder, suspicious death, government corruption, other. All right. Can you tell me as much as you can about the situation? You type it in there. Today's date, hit submit, and it gets fed to me. All right. So, and look, everything you need, tips, case submissions, Discord, all my social media contact information, it's all in one place right here. All right. It's links.the /the_infamous_ex-chief. All right. And it will bring you to this page. It's got everything you need right there. All right. It's the virtual precinct for Tentacle Nation where the real investigations begin. We're not just exposing corruption. We're building a movement. So stand up, be loud, be heard, shake the system until the truth falls out. So let's go, Tentacle Nation. Okay, folks, we are continuing on with our first day interviews. And I know I realize, folks, we're this is not ideal. All right. Normally, I would have tried to gone chronologically. I initially put out the first video in this series just to see what kind of interest that I could get, if I could get anybody talking about it. And folks, it pleasantly blew up on me. All right. To this day, I am still getting text, and please continue to do so. All right. Now we have the new tips website available. Please make certain that you're putting that any of the tips that you feel are necessary, whether about this case or any other case that we're following. Christian Olsen is something that I'm still very passionate about and hope to get answers about also. All right, but we're still in the first day interviews, and then after we wrap up these first day interviews, obviously we need to move into crime scene, and the total inadequate crime scene process that was happened and occurred. And I'm really confused because I think BCI helped with some of the crime scene processing, which is astounding. We'll get to it, but remember, a building has four sides, right? Three sides were photographed here in this case. Fourth side was not. Just to give you an inkling of how lacking of a crime scene process that we received here on this crime scene. But we're going to jump in. If you recall, we've heard interviews from Rick Evans and ex-trustee Michael Costello, who were first responders essentially on scene. They were the first two parties on scene. I shouldn't say that they were first responders. They're not first responders. Although I think Mike Costello used to be on the Lafayette Fire Department. That we'll dive into later. But we've heard from Rick Evans and ex-trustee Michael Costello. We've also heard from ex-trustee Linda Bowers. All right. And now we are going to hear from Miss Kim Buell. And Miss Kim Buell, from my understanding, was someone that worked at the front desk of the administration office. I believe her title may have been secretary. So we're going to jump into her interview. And again, this is Otter, the AI program. So when I uploaded this interview into Otter, the words on the screen are what Otter thinks they are saying.
Hi.
I apologize for the way I
No,
look.
have a seat. I'm Detective Priest. I'm with the Sheriff's Office, and you are?
I'm Kim.
Kim, you were never inside the building?
I work in there, yeah.
Like today you weren't?
No.
Okay.
No.
Were you described what was going on in the building? Have they told you much of anything?
They just said they called me this morning and asked where I was, and I said I was at Home Stove because actually, Bryon Macron told me not to come in today till 9. He was very specific with me not to come in today till 9.
Okay, so Bryon tells you not to come in today until 9.
On Wednesday, I typically work typical schedules Monday, Wednesday, Friday.
Okay.
And Wednesday he came in, and he just said, do not come in Friday. He asked me what I was working on Friday, and he said, what time will you come in? I said, typically around 8, give or take a few minutes. And he said, oh, and he said, I don't want you coming in until 9. I'm like, okay, why? And he said, he was meeting somebody there. And he said, and I said, oh, well, who or whatever. And he said that there's this guy that's been calling him, harassing him about the levy, which he had mentioned to me prior. And he was meeting him there. And I said, I don't like that. I said, have you told your wife? And I said, it's kind of nervy, And he said, he kind of blew off that when I asked him if he had told his wife. And then he said that Jim Sanford was meeting him here. And I'm like, well, that still makes me nervous. And he said, oh, don't worry. He's like, Jim's going to hide in the conference room. That way, if anything happens. And I'm like, Bryon, that is just, and I told him specifically, I'm like, that bothers me. He said, everything will be all right. I'm going to have my gun. Just everything will be all right. And I'm like, all right. And I asked him several times. And then he told me that he thought this person that was meeting him had him confused with Trustee Costello, Mike Costello, because Mike is a firefighter. And I'm like, this weirded me out. I'm like, don't freak me out, because sometimes I'm in that building by myself. And he says, oh, it's fine. Don't worry about it. Just do not come in Friday till 9. And I was like, okay. So then this morning I was in the shower because I was coming in late, and my phone rang. And I was just getting in the shower, and it hung up, and it rang a second time. It was our service supervisor. He said, where are you? I said, I'm in the shower. And he said, you're okay? I said, I'm fine. Why? And he's like, Kim, because he always picks the mail and the newspaper up, takes it down. We have a mouse problem in my building. I'm afraid of mice.
Okay.
But he goes in and he checks my building every day for dead mice and gets rid of them. And he says, something bad happened at the township. He's like, I want to make sure I'm like, I'm fine. And I said, I'm coming up. And I said, Bryon was supposed to meet a guy there this morning. He's like, yeah. And he's like, I don't think you were. I'm like, I'm coming up there. And then.
Okay. Tell me about your relationship with Bryon.
I like how long I've known him, or
yeah, sure. Just tell me about.
I've probably known him. Let's see, my son. I met him. My middle son was in 8th grade, so probably 7 years, maybe 8 years, maybe give or take. I remember meeting him at my son's 8th grade dance.
Okay.
I might have known a little bit before that, but then I saw an ad for this job, and I applied, and I didn't even realize he was a trustee here. And then I went in for an interview, and they hired me. And I didn't know him, like him and his wife and I. We would go out to dinner, but more like after a function with the township. But
so you were socially. I mean, there's a lot of people I work with, and there's people I go out to dinner with. So you went out to dinner. So you were socially involved with him. Please, it doesn't sound. I'm not trying to.
No.
But you were socially also friends with him outside of work.
Yeah, we would go. Usually if we went anywhere, it was as a group. Like we had our employee Christmas party last week, and he was out of town, so he couldn't come, but his wife came, and we were talking, and we always said, oh, let's get together and go out, and then it just never panned out. But I didn't call them just to say, hey, what's going on, type thing. You know what I mean? But whenever we were together, we always had a good time, the four of us, and laughing. And
now you come in at 8 o'clock in the morning. What time do you typically leave?
Usually about 5:30.
You're here all day.
Yeah.
3 days a week. You're
at least 3 days a week.
32 hours at least a week.
Yeah.
So you talked to Bryon a lot. How has he been lately?
Actually, it's kind of been weird over like maybe the last 6 or 8 months. It's been a little different where he was traveling a lot. So sometimes he wouldn't call the office for one time. It was like a whole month he didn't check in. And finally he checked in. Where the heck have you been? I haven't heard from you. Because I actually have 3 bosses, Linda, Mike, and Bryon, are all mine. So typically they'll all, not, I wouldn't say daily, but they'll check in with me to see what's going on, or if I have a problem, or like if I need to switch a day, I have to ask permission from all three. And usually Bryan's like, oh yeah, that's fine, just make sure your work's done, whatever. But then there's times where it's really busy. So over the last year, I'd say probably especially the last 6 to 8 months, give or take, it was different. He kind of backed off from here, but I knew he was working this jewelry job, and that was pretty demanding, like Valentine's Day, Sweetest Day. Those were real busy times for him.
Sure.
So it kind of got my attention, but kind of didn't. But Wednesday really caught my attention. And our fiscal officer, she was in the office when he was telling me not to come until 9.
So that was Wednesday. He's telling you not to come until 9.
Just this past, not yesterday, the day before. He came in, he was real jovial and happy, and I specifically said, because he's mentioned over, the last few weeks, ever since I went home from here, I even mentioned to my husband, I'm like, something weird just does not add up.
Now, when you say it's a lengthy conversation, who was a lengthy conversation with you?
With me and Bryon, between Bryon and I.
And do you know when did this guy ever call the township at all? Did you talk to him at all?
Not that I'm aware of, no.
Now, I'm assuming you're at all the township trustee meetings?
I go to the trustee meetings every month, because I do all the minute meetings.
Anybody in the township that makes you go, man, I'm just never happy?
No, not that one time, a couple years ago, we had a gentleman on Ballish that was upset about logging, but Mrs. Bowers came in and she actually got in the car with him and they went up and the problem was solved. But other than that, I've never had any experience with. And I specifically said to him Wednesday, I said, have you told your wife you've been getting these phone calls? And he blew it off. And I said, Bryon, you've got kids in that house and you travel and your wife is there. I said, what if this person's crazy and is watching your house? He said, oh, I got it covered. There's no worries.
How old are Bryan's kids?
He's got one that is the same age as my middle son. So I'm going to say 19.
Okay.
And then he's got, that's Alex. And then he's got, Maddie. She, I believe, is a 9th grader, freshman. Yeah, she must be a freshman because she's high school. And then Mia is his youngest. I'm going to say she, maybe 5th grade.
His relationship with his wife. When you talked to her at the Christmas party, did you guys talk about Bryon at all?
Yeah, she said she felt bad because originally the trustees had the Christmas party scheduled for this past Tuesday, the 13th, but then there was a zoning member who hasn't been able to attend, so they changed the date to the 6th. And Bryon told me that when they changed the date, he knew he wasn't going to be available on the 6th, but he didn't want to raise a ruckus with the trustees, so But he didn't come last year either. His wife came last year. Last year, it was his wife and his oldest daughter. Mm-hmm. Yeah, it was Victoria and Alex. And then this year, it was Victoria and the younger two that came. And they sat with my husband and I. It was Victoria, her 2 kids, me, and my husband at the table.
So, you don't suspect any kind of marital problems with them? Anything like that?
Don't know him that well. I just know he traveled a lot. I mean, typical things like husband and wife, because I would say, oh, my husband's driving me crazy today. And he's like, yeah, that's, part you and, you women. But I didn't suspect anything when they were together, they were always, nothing stood out.
What would you say about his lifestyle? How would you describe Bryon's lifestyle? Oh, how is that?
He's a pretty laid back guy, I would think. I know he likes to, Ohio State games and stuff. He gets together with guys and drinks.
He's a big Ohio State fan. He does drink.
Yeah, he does drink.
Does he drink a lot or
I don't
not
know.
that you know of?
Yeah, I know he travels a lot for work.
Like, I have guys at the office that's all they're talking about. I'm going to go drink. I'm going to
He would mention once in a while, but nothing that...
I can't wait till I get home.
No, I wouldn't say he drank every night. I would say maybe when he was if I had to guess, maybe when he wasn't home, maybe
Socially.
traveling. Yeah, I would think. But he's a sales rep, and I know sometimes you've got to wine and dine your clients to.
Do you like to spend money?
Oh, not that I'm aware of. I don't know that. We just had this conversation on Wednesday, him and I, because I was saying that my husband and I are going to look for a second little home. And in fact, there was one over on Redford, and I was telling him, and he's like, really? And why over in Glory Glen? I said, I'm just looking for something else because my husband makes a significant amount of money. And I'm like, my kids don't qualify for any help with college, like even student loans. We don't qualify because we make too much. And I'm like, if we bought a second home, we could put the kids, my older two that are in college, in there and maybe get some financial aid, And he's like, oh yeah. He's like, Alex, his daughter is going to Ohio State. He had just gone in, he told me on Tuesday, down to Ohio State to get her all registered. And he's like, yeah, I can work my numbers on paper where we get more funding. And I was like, oh. And he's like, well, that's because of my job. He can claim losses or something. But we didn't go into great detail. I wouldn't say he was poor.
He liked to go to the casinos, like to gamble, go to the horse races. You didn't know.
Not that he ever said to me.
He never said anything about it.
No, not to me.
Like I said.
And I know, like, we've gone to conference. We go to conference every January, and he hasn't gone the last probably 2 years. We all go, and they have like what they call casino night. It's not real casino. It's just they give you tickets and stuff. But I didn't notice anything that was. I mean, he did it. I don't know how to do that. So I didn't notice anything that was alarming and I know it's not real casino, but.
So no, you don't think there's any he didn't present any financial issues.
Not that, I don't know that he had a lot of money. I wouldn't say they were rich, but I don't think they were destitute. Like, the kids are always very well cared for, very well dressed. His wife, he was a stylish dresser, but I wouldn't say over the top. Do you know what I mean?
Gotcha.
Yeah, just a very.
And what's your name?
My name's Kim.
Kim.
Buell.
Buell. Spell the last name for me.
It's Buell.
Buell. And you live here in Lafayette Township?
I do. I live on Ryan Road.
I'll be out in a minute. That's all I really needed.
And like I said, Wednesday when I left, I even mentioned it. I mentioned it to our trustee Costello, just casually. I'm like, hey, just want to let you know, Bryon told me not to come in until 9 on Friday. And then I asked our service guy, he came in, because I'm like, he's in early all the time. And I said, did I say anything to you about Friday? And he said, well, he mentioned that he's meeting somebody. And I'm like, well, just so you know, because if I'm not in on time, they'll all call and say, you okay? Where are you? I said, well, he told me not to come till 9. And when I went home that night, I told my husband, I said, this just is weird. It set me weird. You know what I mean?
I gotcha.
So.
All right. I'm going to make a phone call quick. If you want to go over and see the truck,
okay.
Tell them I will be right out to talk to them in a minute. Right after I make a phone call.
Right.
All right. Thanks.
Yeah. So nerving, right?
Well, I understand.
It's sad, actually. And I said to them this morning, I said, if I would have thought there's something wrong, I would have said something more. But that he did, both Trustee Bowers and Costello both said that. He mentioned it last night, and Trustee Bowers said to me this morning, she said, he made it sound like the phone call just came today. And I said, no, he told me Wednesday. And surely our fiscal officer was in there. I don't know if she could hear the conversation or not, but. And I did.
But where's the fiscal officers who?
Shirley Bailey.
Where's she at today?
They called her. She's older, and they told her don't come in for right now. But.
All right. I will get with her, and I'll see what she has to say. And I tell them I'll be right out, because I know they want to talk to me here in a second. And I'm going to make a phone call before I come out there, because it's too cold to be out there making a phone call.
And if there's anything else, I'll rack my brain. I did get a phone call maybe 2-3 weeks ago. It was a computer phone call, and it just said, it was computer animated, and it said, this calls for Bryon Macron. I forget the exact wording. If you are not Bryon Macron, please hang up. And I hung up. But other than that, I've been sitting over there racking my brain all morning trying to.
Gotcha. Okay.
All right.
I will. If there's anything else, give us a call. But tell them I'll be right out. I'm gonna make a phone call. I don't see any. Thanks.
Okay. After listening to the interview, I actually had taken some notes here. It wasn't the worst interview that I've heard from Medina County yet, but it's definitely not the best. So backing up, I have attempted to reach out to Miss Buell, and I've had no contact with her. All right. So if Miss Buell, if you happen to be watching this, or if someone knows Miss Buell, might want to let her know, hey, I would really like to ask some certain questions, right? And you don't have to tell anybody you're talking to me. So he asked about the they talk about the fiscal officer overhearing this conversation that Bryon supposedly has with Miss Buell. And I'm going to look, but I don't think her name was Shirley Bailey. We found out at the very end, towards the end of the interview. I don't think that the sheriff's department ever interviewed her. And again, I'm going to verify here. Actually, let me do that now. All right. So just checking my files, it doesn't appear she was interviewed by Medina County Sheriff's Department. She wasn't interviewed. She was interviewed by BCI. And I'm not 100% certain because my records still are forthcoming from Medina County. But from what I have been given, I don't see any record of Shirley Bailey being interviewed by Medina County at that time. And that's obviously a big red flag. That's somebody that, again, anytime you're doing these interviews with people, if names come up, you need to interview them, all right? If somebody says, hey, this person was here, this person heard this, whatever, you need to interview that person. I also felt it important to note that, in previous interviews, everybody keeps making these statements about how odd, or at least the impression to me is that they think it's odd, that Bryon didn't come to the Christmas party, but Miss Buell actually states that Bryon didn't come to the Christmas party last year either. And, rightfully so. Again, he's in the jewelry business. It's probably his busiest time of the year would be around Christmas. So, I mean, it would probably be rightfully so that he might not be able to attend the Christmas party. I just thought that was sort of important to note because previously in these other interviews, people are making it sound like it's somewhat of a surprise. Oh, Bryon didn't show up for the party. But apparently he didn't show up last year either. So Detective Priest keeps going on, and like 3, 4, maybe 5 times he brings up the financial issues, and Miss Buell's already answered the question, and you ask an open-ended question, maybe somebody needs a little more information for a fresher recollection, but I mean it almost got to the point where he was trying to feed it to her. Again, you asked the question once, open-ended, hey, is there any issues financially? And she said, no, not that I know of. And he just kept going on. And then what kind of lifestyle does he live? Again, he's asking this question about finances like 5 or 6 times. And that's the worst thing you can do in an interview. Well, that's not the worst. It's a very bad thing that you can do during an interview because you're feeding that information to your witness. And now your witness picks up on these things. Wait, he keeps asking me about this. Maybe I should answer this way. It's not the way to conduct an interview. He doesn't ask, very cursory. I find it alarming. He doesn't ask about friends, other friends. Hey, who's Bryon friends with? Who's Bryon talked to? She may not know, but he doesn't even ask. Same thing with enemies. You ask everybody, hey, is there any enemies? Does he have any enemies? Do you know of any enemies? Again, she may not know, but you ask everybody. And so, again, not the most horrible interview, but definitely not the best. So we're going to move on here. Stick around. All right, we're going to move on to a next interview. And I wish, honestly, I could get this in chronological order for you. And I have no idea the chronology due to the fact that the records don't indicate. Generally, when you conduct these interviews, all right, and folks, I'm not just an accomplished investigator from the city of East Cleveland. I've worked for multiple agencies, all right? So it's not just, oh, hey, maybe that's just the way East Cleveland did it. Every agency I've worked for, I mean, you do an interview and you do a supplement indicating, hey, I did this interview. So this is actually the first time I think that whoever's doing the interview actually says the time, because even when you're doing a recorded interview, you want to identify, hey, this is December 17th. I'm sorry, I think it's actually 16th, December 16th, 2016, and the time is 3:29 p.m. and we're at 6779 Wedgwood Road, which is the Lafayette Township Administration Building, and I am, Detective Gardner, and I'm speaking with Adam Houck, right? So if you've listened to these interviews up to this point, it's not being done, and that's just, again, these little absurdities to me, because when you go back and anybody who listens to these, they have no idea when this was taken, where exactly they were, and generally you would even indicate, hey, this is, we're at 60, whatever it is, 6779, 60, whatever the address is, and you indicate, usually I'm in this office, I'm whatever office we're in. Very odd, but here's the interview with Adam Houck, H-O-U-C-K, and I believe he's a police officer at a neighboring department, and I believe he has purchased some sort of jewelry from Bryon.
Adam Houck's house in Buell. Very Toyota. That's really on the right. But that's 092.
How are you? Nice. Oh, that's a nice vehicle you like. Yeah, great. Oh, what's up, man? How you doing? You've been working on it. Well, he went. Okay, with us. Yeah. Good. Oh. That here. We're talking very. No, good. Just have a call.
Hi, Bryon. We're in Macron. You know Bryon Macron? He's the Lafayette Township trustee. Yes. Did you talk to him yesterday?
Yeah, I bought a jewel necklace for him.
Tell me about it. What time were you there? Where were you guys at?
4:30, because he had 5. I got my phone straight to text.
Yeah, absolutely. Please.
Bryon. That's crazy. Yeah, I went to his house at 4:30 because said he had reached about 5. His wife left while we were there, and I bought a necklace for him.
For a girlfriend?
Yeah.
Christmas present, I'm guessing?
Yeah.
All right, that's what I figured.
So
Did you meet his daughter while you were there? Did you see his daughter?
she was on the couch.
Okay.
I got his one for Dave. Dan Kohler.
Oh, okay.
Dan bought a necklace for his girlfriend.
Yeah.
I just got to stop it for 1 second. All right. Again, this is what amazes me with these investigators. First off, I'm assuming they might be at this guy's house. I don't know, or at some sort of location with them. It sounds like they're video or recording this surreptitiously, which is legal, but just a little odd. And again, he's asking the question. So you bought some jewelry for him. And he says, well, I assume for Christmas present. Again, why you don't give your witnesses the answers? Ask open-ended questions. Okay, how about if it wasn't a Christmas present? And now this guy is sort of locked in. Oh, yeah, I better answer it's a Christmas present. Or it helps. Maybe it wasn't a Christmas present and the guy was going to lie anyways. And now this investigator's just helped him out. He doesn't have to come up with a good lie because the investigator already told him his lie. You ask open questions. All right. Did you buy some jewelry? Did you buy, I don't even know if I might even say jewelry. Did you buy anything off Bryon? All right. Again, I'm sorry, just little minuscule things, but this is, as we progress through this case, you're going to see how this is just a total botchery from the Medina County Sheriff's Department.
Dan bought a Christmas present for his girlfriend?
Yeah, from him, I don't know. I think it's all.
All right.
I could copy and send all those.
Yeah, if you wouldn't mind, once I'm done, then send them to my email.
Yeah, he had a point history.
No, I just wanted to.
Like 5 o'clock, I went in there, he showed me a bunch of necklaces. He said he had $100,000 worth of jewelry in his house.
He's a jeweler.
Yeah, that's what he does. Showed me like 4 displays. I'll show you the necklace if you want. Sure.
We're done with this right here.
Did they, you guys have any other conversation outside of the jewelry conversation?
We talked about that. I had $100 bill. 30 for the necklace. So all I had was $16 instead of, 10 and singles on it. So I gave him that. I told him I come back with $15 or $14 in an envelope. Monday from FedEx, he's supposed to be boxes for the jewelry. So I said, I'll come over, I'll drop off the money. I'll pick up boxes. Maybe I probably jumped in the mailbox. So.
Did he say anything about what he was doing later that night?
He said he had an appointment at 5 o'clock.
That's all he'd tell you?
He didn't tell me where.
All right.
We walked into the kitchen, and well, there's like a dinette area off the kitchen.
I've never been in his house, but yeah.
There's like a dinette area off the kitchen. We walked in there, he had everything set up for me to look at because I had made arrangements. We've been going back and forth and trying to stop with the jewelry.
Okay.
Go in there, look at all the jewelry. I said all I had was 100 on me. He said, well, just give me what you have. And I said, okay, I'll drop off the rest of it in an envelope when I pick up the box for the necklace. We go out into the garage, and he sees my truck and says, oh, were you in the Navy? I said, no, I was Army. We started talking about that. Asked one was in the Corps, what he did for the Corps. Tells me a story about he took French classes in high school. Some sergeant had asked him to say something in French because he was looking at a job at an embassy. So he ends up getting served at retail. Goes to Haiti, says he goes to Haiti, and then he's talking about Somalia. He did time in Somalia. I asked about Tommy O'Grady's kid who's in Somalia. He was a Marine Corps sniper in Somalia. He says, yeah, he knows Tommy, he knows his dad. He worked on the department with my dad. He was from India. We talked about that, talked about cop stuff a little bit. So yeah, and earlier in the conversation, really when I first showed up, he said he hasn't been right from the gym much because he's doing other days.
Mm-hmm.
And that's about it, guys. I don't know anything else.
All right. Well. Yeah, if you could.
What was his attitude like?
Good mood.
Good mood?
Yeah.
Didn't seem to have any worries on his mind or anything.
No, I laughed. We had cool jokes. Said he, I was cold yesterday, so I was kind of like, at the end of the conversation, okay, I gotta go, I gotta go somewhere.
Had he been drinking at all, you think? No.
More feeding of the interview. What kind of mood was he in? Good mood? Just more feeding of the interview.
Okay. It's in a good mood, good spirits. But don't worry about the other $14. You come back, I told him I drop it off. He said, yeah, that's fine. Showed me the only other necklace I was really kind of interested in was $99, and it was a gold one with It was white diamonds. It was a little hard, kind of like white gold. Is that me? Yeah, it's awesome. On a white necklace, and I decided to go with this one instead. Yeah, it was. I'm gonna step out in the garage and take some stuff real quick. You know why? Why? No,
It's all Bryon.
yeah, it's from flipping. I got. Dan texted him and said, "Hey, can I share this with Adam, the guy from Seville? He's looking for a necklace for his girlfriend." And Dan contacted him. Yeah, sent me your thing. I sent him the first text, and you see everything from there. When was the last time you seen?
Last night.
Oh.
So, I'm following. Hey Bryon, Adam from Seville. Dan said you sell jewelry. And so he says, I do. Well, big box and small guys. I have a little of everything. What are you looking for? You can call as well. This is my mobile. You say I'm looking to spend $100 on my girlfriend's diamond necklace. So did you see what I sold Dan? They're pretty sweet black diamond, dancing diamond sets in SS. They're 40 to 45 depending on which one. They retail 149. Worth the look. Dan didn't show me. I live like 2 minutes from you. He says, I'll send you pictures in the morning. It's a great thing. You're more than welcome to stop over, he says. He said, need address. Are you home during the week? Text, I'm generally home. Cool, how about it afternoon next week? He says, perfect. Thanks again. And on December 6th, you text him, hey Bryon, are you going to be home this afternoon? He says, no, sorry, I got to call out of town. I'll be back Saturday. Okay, have a safe trip perhaps next week then. He says, perfect. It's on December 6th. Still on the 6th. Hey Bryon, are you home this afternoon? That's Tuesday, December 6th. This is perfect before 2 or after I'm home. I'll be home all day tomorrow. Yesterday, he said, hey Bryon, does about 5 work for you? And he says, can we do it earlier? I have a 5 o'clock appointment. What time? Anytime before 5. What else works? I pick up my little one at between 3 and 3:30 is the only bad time. You say, okay, I'll be at your place at 4:30. He says, perfect. And that ends with a kitty thing. That's it.
You said, hey, can over with well, email it there. You can email it to us. I think the best, the only way I know how to do the screenshot.
Yeah, that's fine.
Yeah, that's fine.
So that's the only involvement you had with him?
Yeah. This way, I just got to ask you, what did you do after you left? Went from there to Drug Mart. Bought a bunch of odds and that stuff. Which were over here. Okay. 3. From there, I went up. Where did I go? From Drug Mart. Drug Mart, I went to. I shot Nikki a text, which she wanted to KFC for dinner. I went to KFC. I bought dinner for both of us, and that was over her place by about 6 o'clock. And then I was over her place until I left there about 10:30 last night. And I don't know what Star Wars. I saw the new Star Wars.
Okay. Did you go by yourself?
Yeah. From there, I came home. Which Star Wars you go to? Real, like 7/6/16.
Oh, and then
Yeah, light show was 11:30 last night.
that was pretty.
You know,
White brown.
Yeah.
I mean, it goes on for like another 10 seconds or there or whatever, but there's no other speech. We're going to flip to, they did, when I was looking for this audio video, there is video of, they had recovered video from the movie theater, and they actually have, I think, video of Bryon Macron and ex-trustee Michael Costello and this Adam Huck. And I don't even know what Adam necessarily looks like, and this video is horrible, but we'll show it to you. This is the lobby video that they have labeled for Adam Hook. I don't know if that's him coming in or if that was him of the three parties that are leaving. I don't think there was anybody else that came in at this point, but we'll let it roll through. It's 49 seconds here. All right, so obviously it was either him that was standing there or he was one of the three parties that were leaving. And again, there's a lot of preference on this Star Wars movie. I mean, again, I recall in 2016, I went to the Star Wars movie. It was a big thing back then. And I imagine, I don't know for certain, when I was growing up in Medina, I think there was only one movie theater. I don't know if that was still the case in 2016 or not. But I would imagine probably everybody was at that movie. A lot of people at that movie. So I don't draw any specific inference that, Adam Hook was at this movie with him, but it could be. Who knows? You can't rule it out either. But, all right, so that's the interview from Adam Hook. Apparently I was muted. Originally, I was going to play this video, try to squeeze this in, but the video, this one video is 50 minutes long, and I believe there's actually two videos. These are initial interviews with Victoria Macron at her residence. So, as I stated, this was not ideal. I think she should have been brought down to the police department and interviewed there. But they go to her residence for whatever reason and are attempting to glean information at her residence. But the video is pretty long. I didn't realize that it was that long. So we're going to cut this here for this episode. Next week, we'll get these videos with Victoria Macron, first day videos, and then we're going to go into the scene photos from the Lafayette Administrative Building. All right? We're going to try to squeeze in also the Lafayette Market video, which Medina County heavily relied on for a timeline. And I'm going to show you why it's erroneous that they did that. Because the video is event-driven, meaning that it's only recording during motion, and it's not recording everything. So for them to rely heavily on it for timeline was a very large mistake on their part. But we're going to get into that next week, so please stick tuned. Next week, we'll see you next week. And please, 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 if you have any information relative to this case, the case of Christian Olson, the case of Don Pasella, please go to my links website and hit the tip submission sheet. Thank you.